Hello, friends. Welcome back to Step Forward with Terry Mullen. I am so grateful you're here. And today we're going to dive into something that just might make you squirm a little. Something I've been wanting to talk about. It's a little bit juicy, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. Are you ready? Your husband isn't your business guru. Yep, there, I said it. Ouch, right? I know that just might sting a little, especially if you've been leaning on him for advice. But stick with me. We're going here. Okay? Listen, I get it. My husband has been a huge voice in my life. He is a big personality, he has very strong opinions, and he has his own business. He's someone I love. But part of my journey has been finding my voice, believing in myself and my idea, learning to stand tall in who I am, and trust my gut and my own vision for my business. Does that make sense? And you know what? It's actually been a huge game changer. And I write about this in my book, Step Forward, and I've talked about it a lot here on the podcast. So I want to encourage you, if your husband isn't your ideal client, his advice might be coming from a place of love, but not necessarily what your business needs. I've walked this path, so grab your cup of coffee, take a deep breath, and let's unpack this together. Are you ready? Let's step forward. Welcome to Step Forward with Terry Mullen. If you're new here, welcome. If you have been following along for a while, welcome back, and thank you so much for being here. I'm a mom to 4 adults, a wife of 34 years, a midlife entrepreneur, and your confidence coach who transformed my own doubt into confidence to speak, write my book, start a podcast, and launch my own business. Now I empower other amazing women just like you to do the same. So lean in and learn how to crush that fear, amplify your voice, and build confidence to create your own impact and income. I'm here to encourage you and empower you every step of the way. Let's step forward. Okay, friends, yes, we are going here. We're going to talk about why your husband, yes, your wonderful, supportive, and likely very opinionated husband, is not your business guru. Unless he is also your business partner. In that case, this is something different, but that's not what I'm going to focus on. I know your husband loves you. He wants what's best for you. He is your cheerleader, and he might even have some decent advice. But here's the deal. If your husband isn't your ideal client, that's the person that you're helping and serving, then his advice might actually trip you up or hold you back. I've walked in these shoes, my friends, and I know your husband loves you just like my husband loves me. But stick with me because I want to explain why I think this is really important to talk about this and what you can do instead. In fact, I have 3 actionable steps that I believe that can really help you get the kind of advice that you need to move your business forward. Oh, and little side note, if you're feeling stuck or you need some more clarity, I have a few coaching spots available right now. I'd love to help you get clarity so you're ready for 2025. And if you're just struggling and swirling a little bit, please reach out. I'll put the link here in the show notes and we can just have a quick 30-minute call just to get some clarity and make sure it would be a good fit for both of us. Okay, so picture this. You have spent hours brainstorming this really new, brilliant idea or offer that you have, or maybe even a topic you want to talk about on a podcast or on a video or something you want to send in an email, right? You're excited. You're so excited about it. You have this amazing idea, the idea of ideas, and you think it's going to take everything to the next level. But before you hit publish on a podcast or create that post or send that email or share it with your audience, you decide to run it past your husband. And then it happens. He looks up at you with a slightly confused look on his face and says something like, do you think that will work? Do you think women really want that or need that? Or have you thought about doing it differently or maybe offering a discount or trying to do it in a different way? Cue. Self-doubt swirls in. It just pours in. And suddenly you spiral. You know what I'm talking about, right? Those limiting thoughts and doubt begin to creep in. And for me, it's definitely doubt. And I start to question, maybe he's right. Maybe that really is a dumb idea. Maybe that won't work. Maybe I should reconsider it or rethink it and just keep it simple. Maybe that's just too outside the box. So I want you to pause and stop right there. I want you to face those limiting thoughts. And maybe you can even pause right now and write down your limiting thoughts that creep in from time to time. I've actually given them a name and I share it in my book, Step Forward. I talk about it because data actually shows that when we name those silly imposters, they actually diminish. Their power diminishes, right? So I call mine Debbie Doubter because doubt lives large on my shoulder. And when we identify it and name it, we can actually tame it. When we have this awareness, it dissipates and we can say, that's doubt. It's creeping in. I know what to do. All right, be quiet. And you can tell yourself, I'm in the driver's seat. I know I can move forward. But when you don't identify it, it just kind of continues to swirl and keep you stuck. Does that make sense? But give that a try. I think it might really help you. So let me ask you, is your husband your ideal client? Like for me, I'd say, is my husband a midlife woman? Does he need to grow his confidence? Is he starting a business? Is he trying to start a podcast or rediscover himself? Well, the answer is definitely no. So here's the truth. As well-meaning as he might be, if he isn't your ideal client, like mine isn't, and even admitted it to me, then he doesn't know what the challenges and the desires and the pain points and the words that my midlife woman uses. The woman who's trying to step forward with her life, the woman who's trying to start again and figure out what's next, the woman who wants to start a podcast or start a business, right? So guess what? It's okay. It's okay if he doesn't get it. He's not supposed to. He's not your ideal person. Your husband is there to love you, to cheer you on, to remind you to take a break when you're working too hard, to take you on a date. But he's not your business guru, right? He can't give you advice on your ideal client if he isn't one. Now, like I said, if he is your business partner, that's a whole different topic, and that's not what I'm addressing here today. So I want to encourage you to listen to people who've actually walked this path, who are coaches, who are in the online space or have a podcast or have written a book. Does that make sense? So I know that's hard to hear, but for me, I have walked this path. I have learned so much from my own mistakes. You know, my husband has been a big voice in my life. He has been a very big personality, and I share this very openly. And part of my journey has been finding my voice, and it's why I'm so passionate about helping other women find theirs, to believe in themselves in this season of life, and to step forward with their idea. So I'm really grateful for this experience because it brought me right to where I am. It's what led me to starting a podcast and to writing my book and to coaching other women. And so whatever experience you have, it's what led you to where you are. And maybe you're like me. Maybe you already had a lucrative and successful career. I did before I decided to stay home and raise our children. Now, that was not an easy decision for me to make back then. And once I hit midlife, once our youngest started high school, I started to question what was next. Who was I? What were my dreams and goals? I was still young enough and I still had them, but I had to go back and recall what they were. I had to go back and find that girl who grew her business, who was really great at it, who was great at connecting with people and providing incredible customer service and helping people believe in themselves. I had to reinvent myself. And maybe you're in that place too. Now, if I needed advice on finance, well, my husband would be the guy I would definitely go to. That's his wheelhouse. He's great at it. That's what he does for a living. He also coaches young adults and helps them start investing. He's a very strategic thinker. I'm an outside-the-box thinker. I'm very creative. So he's not a midlife woman who's trying to start a business or a podcast, right? Fun fact, he's never even listened to my podcast. And thank goodness, because he would definitely have opinions about that as well. So I'm sharing this because I want to empower you. I want you to be mindful if you are leaning on your husband for advice and seeking approval or someone else in your life. And I also want to encourage you to believe in who you are and your vision. I love what Trent Shelton says. He says, if you wear glasses and you have a prescription that is prescribed just for you, if your husband or someone else in your life tries to put them on and look through them, the vision will be blurry because those glasses are prescribed just for you. They are created for you to see clearly through them. They're not for your husband or anyone else, right? So while your husband might be supportive and want to cheer you on, he's not your ideal person, and I think it's so important to get clear on that. So that leads me to my point number 1. Who is your ideal client? First things first, right? We must know who our ideal audience is or who our ideal client is. And I mean, really know them. And for the purpose of this podcast, I'm going to say her because that's my ideal client, a midlife woman who is stepping forward, trying to rediscover herself. She needs a little bit of confidence and courage to actually start that podcast, to write that book, or even start that business, right? That's who I help. It's someone who is aspiring to step forward. So quick side note, if you are trying to figure out who your ideal client is, you've probably heard some of the gurus talk about it's likely you 5 or 10 years ago, right? And you know, if that was you, or you're already coaching, you know what keeps your ideal client up at night. You know what she's Googling. You know what she's asking ChatGPT. You know the words she's actually using. And you likely know what she needs the courage to actually step forward and do and say out loud, right? So if you're not completely clear, this is another great place just to pause and get specific. Write it down. Describe your ideal person. Describe her. Is she a mom who's just sent her youngest off to college and she's trying to figure out what's next? Is she a woman who has spent decades working in the corporate space but suddenly feels this tug to start her own coaching business? Is she a hairstylist who now wants to teach an online course on how to run a lucrative business and sell while actually serving? Is she like the ideal client of some of my clients? Is she struggling with her own mental health and brain health and needs tools to actually move forward? Is she struggling with her sobriety, or has she moved beyond it and just needs tools to really celebrate who she is and where she is now in her life? Or is she looking to purchase an RV and just needs some help gaining confidence to make the right decision and save years of mistakes and pain and money to move forward and enjoy her life? Who is she? Write it down. Describe her. Describe her likes, her dislikes, her passions. You know what they are. So when you know your client inside and out, you actually don't need to go to anyone else. You don't need to lean on your husband. Number 2, get feedback from the right people. Here's the fun part. Start conversations, not only with your ideal person, if you already know who they are and you're coaching, but also with your audience. You can send out a survey. You could hop on social media and do a survey like they do. I think in Facebook groups you can do them, and also on LinkedIn. You can also send out an email if you have an email list and ask them. Ask your people what they need. What are they struggling with at this time? And what do they wish that someone would create for them? So I think this is a really great thing to do. You can also have one-on-one conversations. How about that? Actually talking to people in person or even on Zoom and ask them what they're struggling with. And like I said, if you already have a coaching business, you already know. But track it. Write down the words that they're using and their struggles so that you can really show up and speak to that on a podcast or on social media. It will really give you clarity once you really are clear on this. And bonus tip, I think it's really important to get feedback from other women and other female entrepreneurs in your circle. I have 2 women that I get really solid feedback from. They're really open and honest with me. We have a reciprocal relationship. I share my thoughts with them and they give me feedback as well. And I think it's really important to have honest, straightforward feedback. You don't want someone who's just rah, 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 a yes person, because that won't help you. You need someone who isn't afraid to speak the truth to you and say, I don't think that would work. That doesn't resonate with me. I don't think that will really help move the needle. You know, you want someone that's in the trenches with you and someone has had their own struggles and gotten on the other side of them and someone that will share what's worked for them. I also have a coach. I say all coaches need coaches because anytime we're leveling up and moving to the next level and trying to move forward, we need someone that has our back, someone that's gone before us, and someone that can walk along beside us and see things in us that can really help us move forward. So that leads to point number 3, hire a coach. Let's be real. Sometimes we just need someone who can walk along beside us, someone who gets it. And I believe with everything in me that a coach is invaluable. I've had one throughout my entire journey of growing my business, and I had one when I was really going through some really challenging things. I've also done therapy. If you need that, I think that's also helpful. But if you need a coach, wink, wink, I'm here for you. And like I shared, I'll put a link here. We can just have a 30-minute conversation and see if I would be the person to help you move forward. But let's get you unstuck. Let's get you ready for 2025. So coaches are really invaluable because they're people who have been where you are. They're people that have walked this walk as well. And they've grown a business. They've started a podcast. They've written a book. They know the challenges of what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And they can really be an incredible support system and give you tangible things to do to help you move forward. Because I don't believe that we're meant to do this alone. We're not meant to climb this entrepreneurial mountain by ourselves. I know it can feel really lonely at times. But don't be a lone wolf. Reach out, get support, and find people to help you move forward. All right, I hope this inspires you today. Let's recap just quickly. Your husband might be amazing, but when it comes to your business, he's not your guru and he's likely not your ideal client. So get really clear on who your ideal client is. Number 2, talk to your audience and your ideal client. Get their feedback. Really understand their pain points and their desires and what they need. And then number 3, surround yourself with experts. Get a coach and dive into a supportive community that can really help you move forward. I'm here for you. I believe in you. I know what this journey feels like, and I know what it takes to find the courage to actually step forward and go after our dream, our goal, and our vision. Whether that's writing a book, starting a podcast, or starting your business. I'm here to cheer you on and to give you tangible tools if that's what you need. Until we meet again, know that you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you are valued, and you belong, my friend. Keep stepping forward, keep using your voice, and trust it. Have an amazing day. God bless. Well, thank you so much for being here and for listening in. I hope you have a few key takeaways that you can apply to your own life. And if you don't mind, if you could take just a few moments and leave me a review, I would love it. It lets me know that there are people out there on the other side of this microphone who are listening in and this has had an impact on their life. And just leave those 5-star reviews. That would be so awesome. Until we meet again, know that you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you are valued, and you belong. Let's keep stepping forward. God bless.